Smile for the camera.
Hey guys, happy Wednesday. We're about a minute early. We'll give some people a few minutes to get on. Hope everybody had an awesome new year. Things are busy here at the shop. I'm sure you can hear some banging out there. We've got a new metal frame going up. We're excited to kind of show you guys the cat house and kind of how that finished out. We're going to talk about bathrooms today. We got a lot of inquiries about bathrooms. So I'm going to give it another minute or so, and we're going to talk about things like moisture. We're going to talk about some toilets. We're going to talk a little bit about tile. And is that about it, Nikki? Okay. We want to make sure we can get some time to really get a feel for the cat house. We're really going to try to keep this at 30 minutes.
Started.
All right, so a couple of the questions we got that Nikki posted for kind of sit down with the builder were about bathrooms, right? And we got some really good questions. I'll start off with using tile in a bathroom, right? We have had a question about using like the wood plank tile throughout the house. Because the trailers have some kind of built-in kind of torque to them, they're able to kind of rotate slightly through the length of them. We do not use plank tile throughout the house. We will use tile on the floor in sporadic areas, typically the bathroom, because the bathroom is typically a very smaller kind of square footage location, and we do things that kind of help with allowing a little bit of movement with that tile. So we use like a flex mortar and a flex grout, and we always make sure that our subfloor is secured, and they've got some other things out there called red bond and some things that kind of help with allowing a little bit of movement. Your regular residential home, the concrete cracks after the house has been settled, and there's typically even movement underneath your residential home. So even in the residential world, they've got new products that are supposed to help with allowing that shifting of that concrete underneath the tile, but not affecting the tile. So some of that has been very helpful in our processes with tiny homes as well. You know, we do try to limit the tile. We try to limit the weight of the tile that we use. But we aren't afraid to use tile, even in our showers. So I believe the Henderson, when we finally sold the Henderson, it had over 15,000 miles on it, traveling from show to show all over the U.S. And I think, I'm confident we didn't have one cracked tile or anything like that as far as moving that much in that house. You always do want to monitor the corners. We do use, again, that flex grout. So if you do notice any type of cracking in the corners of your showers, you're going to want to maintain that and put some additional kind of sanded, flexible grout in there. But that's just really the only place where we have typically seen any type of potential issue with tile in a moving structure. Moisture. We put a bathroom vent fan in all of our tiny houses, and that is mainly for that shower. A lot of people think that that fan is for the bathroom and it's supposed to pull the smells out while you're in the bathroom, but that's actually not what that fan is there for. That fan is there to pull the humidity out of the bathroom when using the shower. So anytime the shower's on, or even the laundry, if the laundry's going, we want to make sure that we have that vent fan on, helping pull that air out of that bathroom and that humidity out while we're taking a shower. There are other things that you can do. You can put a humidity switch on that fan, so when the humidity gets to a specific level, the fan automatically turns on. You don't have to manually turn it on. It's a setting within the switch, so that's always something cool and different to look at. Humidity is definitely something that you want to monitor in a tiny house. 99% of tiny houses are over AC'd, so you do kind of create that higher humidity levels. Again, with different locations, we know we're in Florida. Florida has 90+ humidity most of the year. So we're already in a humid environment. So we want to make sure that we're creating a way to cycle that air out of the house. And we do things like using ERV fans, the bathroom fans, and basically just going in and out of the house can help exchange that air from inside the house with outside the house. So humidity was a great question. Sometimes, depending on the humidity levels, you will need to use like a smaller, they have countertop dehumidifiers, things like that. And that typically only happens a couple of times a year, usually when it's very humid out and you've got those ACs cranking to try to keep the house nice and cool. You might have some of those humidity issues, but a dehumidifier using the ERV fans and the bathroom fans can help bring that down for sure. Even a ceiling fan can help deaden that air, just by that air movement can limit some of that humidity level. Before we get into toilets, was there anything else, Nikki, that we need to?
I would say, are glass doors okay for tiny homes?
Yeah, so we have put glass doors in, and we haven't had any issues with glass doors. I do love the looks of the frameless glass doors, but the issue with the frameless glass doors is they're very difficult to secure when traveling. The track doors have the track, they have rollers, you can secure them during travel. So if we do put a shower door in, we typically try to use a frame style or even a modern kind of semi-frame system that can be easily supported and strapped to a secure kind of location during travel. But yes, we have used them and you know, we'll continue to use them in the future. So toilets. We had a lot of questions about toilets. We're fortunate enough to have a composting toilet here, and we have an incinerator toilet inside the house. So we'll be able to show you two of the options that we typically recommend on top of a standard flush toilet. So I'm not going to go too much into a standard flush toilet because most of us are all very familiar with those. We definitely use them on a regular basis. So you know, plumbing wise, we do plumb every house for a standard flush toilet. And that's because customers might need to be on a composting or an incinerator toilet for a period of time, but then they plan to be able to put a flush toilet in at some point in the future. So they have that option in our homes. It's something that we do standard just because we've seen that as a potential issue down the road. So standard flush toilet, you have the connection to the drain line and you need a water supply, right? So those are typical, those are in everybody's house. What we're going to cover is the Separett composting toilet and the incinerator today. So, or the Incinolet toilet. So for the Separett composting toilet, it is a little bit deceiving. It is not, the composting doesn't happen inside the toilet itself. It does start, but it doesn't happen inside the toilet. The Separett company has felt like you know, adding additives to the toilet or starting the composting process inside the toilet, it doesn't really make sense. That they believe that you know, the waste that comes out of this toilet has to go into a compost or some sort of regulated dump station, right? So Separett feels like the composting stuff shouldn't really start in their toilet. It should start in the compost. And so there's no additives. The only thing that goes into this toilet is number 2, the waste as far as into the composting bag. There is a urine diverter on this unit, and that's what the composting system does. It separates the solids from the liquids, which then create that sewage smell. When those two mix, that's when you get that really strong sewage smell. When they're separated, they don't react the same way. So for men, the Separett toilet does require everybody to sit down. Okay, so there is no standing up with this toilet, which is something that, you know, men will have to kind of adjust to when using this toilet. But and there's clear directions on that. So What we like to do on the urine diversion is it tells you in the owner's manual for this toilet to pour a cup of water down the urine line after use, and that's to help kind of move that urine that does have that smell to it alone down the drain lines. One thing that we like to do, and we started doing this a few months ago on different houses, is we take this one-way, basically P-trap valve. It's called a HEPVO valve. They're used a lot in tiny home structures and in RVs. And we connect it to that urine drain on the back, and then we connect it to the drain line for the house. So typically the customer is going to have like a main drain line. If they are off grid and they need the urine diversion to be separate to its own kind of black water tank, that can be done as well. But what this does is this has a built-in one-way valve. So once that cup of water comes through and into this, we're not going to get any back smells back through that line. So this is very important if you do use a Separett toilet, to kind of make sure that whatever the urine diversion has some sort of valve on it that's not going to allow those smells to come back through the toilet. The other thing that the toilet has for the waste, for the number 2, is a vent, right? So the vent kind of comes off the top and it ends up going either 90 out the wall in most scenarios or up through the ceiling and out. But it does have to vent. And what the process is with this toilet is if you see this button right here, and actually you can come in a little bit and show, this is the urine diversion. This is why you have to sit down, because you can't angle the urine another way. We don't want the urine to go in here because that's where the wastes are, and that's what's going to make that smell. But when you sit down on this, you create a pressure and it opens up the waste bucket here, right? And that waste bucket, every time it opens up, it also, and I'll open this whole thing up here, it also rotates this bucket, right? So you hear that click? So the bucket actually rotates so that you can get an even kind of separation of the waste going down into the bucket, right? These liners are compostable. They do come with the toilet itself, and you can repurchase them online from the Separett website. This is the fan. When the unit is closed, the fan is pulling these smells and things like that from this through the toilet. There is a little bit of a gap here, and you'll see that's to allow the fan to pull air through the waste and out the vent. Okay. You can also see, if I take this out, it does come with 3, I believe, buckets. So you can have 2 in reserve. You can take this bucket out. You take the trash, you put it into the composting side of it. The waste, you put it into the composting. Either you have a compost or you have a local dumping station that allows you to dump the waste. That is one thing with a composting toilet that you have to keep in mind. You cannot take this waste and just toss it in the trash. It does need to go to an approved dump station, or you're a green thumb and you have a garden and you want to grow stuff and you want to create your own compost. So that is one thing about this toilet that has to be thought about is, you know, what are you going to do and what do you plan to do with the waste? While this is out, I'll show you. You can see here, this is the urine diverter line. So when you do sit down and go number 1, it does have this diversion that goes to that HEPVO valve that we have on the back. The other thing about this toilet is it does need a power source. So there are 2 options on this toilet. You can either use a 12 volt power source or a 120 volt power source. So we use either or, just depending on kind of the situation, but you will need a power source for the fan to run regularly. The other thing is that there's 2 hinges on here. So when you are going to take out the bucket, you don't have to worry about holding everything up or, you know, kind of you have the ability to get it out with both hands. And then it does close. There's two basically locks here. You push the one up, it's unlocked, you push this one out, and you just close it, right? And it's ready to use again as long as the bucket and the bag are in there. Okay? So that is the general composting toilet. We like this toilet for multiple reasons. We like that you don't have to put any additives in it. There are some other composting toilets that you kind of start the composting process. You have to turn it. You have to add specific things to kind of start the process. We feel like the less that you have to do that, the better. And, obviously understanding that you have to do something with the waste. They do say that a household of 2 people, you can go, depending on how regular you are, some people are more regular than others. You can go up to potentially 2 to 3 weeks without taking that bucket out, right? Again, that's going to be dependent on how much it's used, how many people are using it again. Biggest thing, make sure the vent, you have power for the vent, because that air pulling across the waste is also kind of drying it out and pulling some of that, starting a little bit of that composting kind of side of things. Great company, you can check their website out. Separett, I think it's separett.com, but they do have units for both the US and overseas. They do have a couple of different models. They have a smaller model called the Weekender. We actually use that in the bus because the footprint on it was smaller, right? So depending on the size of your bathroom, you may want to look at that Weekender. Obviously, it's still a urine diverting. It still separates. It still works the same way. You just a little bit smaller of a unit. Might have to change it out more often. Okay, so if we don't have any questions on this, we're going to go ahead and head out to the cat house. We're going to take a break from talking about toilets for a second. We'll talk about the incinerator toilet when we get into the bathroom of the cat house, but we're going to go out there. We're going to talk about a couple of the features on the outside of the cat house and take you through a quick tour of how it finished out, okay? So one thing that we're super excited about on this unit was the awning, right? This was the first time that we did an awning, and we're super excited about how it came out. That is a 19 feet wide awning by 9.5 foot extension. It does have different wind sensing capabilities, so that if you leave with the awning on, you could set the sensibility on the wind sensor. We've tested it a couple of times. It works great. So basically, depending on the strength of your sensor, what setting you put it on, there's 3 different settings. The wind will maybe kick up and it'll automatically roll the awning back in. You don't have to be home for that. So you will notice that it's got a little bit of a pitch to it. That's built into the system. You can control that pitch with the arms on the awning, and that way we pitch the water off of it the direction that we want it to go. Another really cool thing on this house is some of the exterior features we used. The cedar looking product, that's actually an aluminum product from Royal Building Supplies. They're out of Canada. It's a really neat lightweight option. The siding also comes from Royal. The nice thing about the siding is it is cellulose, like a PVC product. So it's going to last a long time. It's recycled, as well as it comes pre-painted, pre-finished, right? So there's definitely some pros and cons to that, but we definitely enjoyed using it on this one. So we're going to go ahead and walk around. This is a 28-foot unit, 28 feet long. It does have about an 18-inch bump out on the rear of the structure. Where are we going to?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, a couple of things on this. We've got the butterfly roof on this. I don't know if you could see that from back there, but the roof pitches from front to back. So there is, what we decided to do on this one is basically we put a gutter system on it. So all of the water sheds off to the sides and out to the back of this house. So awesome, really neat kind of feature on it as well. you can see the cat door. So this house has been dubbed the cat house by the owners. In the design process, we designed this house for them and how they live, as well as their 4 cats, right? So, you know, everybody's idea of space and how they use their space daily is different. Some people have cats, some people have dogs, some people have kids, some people have all 3, right? So all of those kinds of things need to be kind of factored into how the house is used. They have what they call a catio. It's basically a about a 4 foot wide by 2 feet, maybe 3 feet deep, and about 5 feet tall. It's as tall as I am. Kind of an outside play catio cage for the cats, right? And that door is designed to line up with one of the doors on that cage, so that the cats can come in and out of the house into this cage and get to kind of enjoy some of the outside weather like today, right? All of our houses have an exterior hose bib, just like this is your living side of your house. So all of them have an exterior hose bib, so you can add a hose there to wash your car, things like that. This house does have a utility shed on the front. So in this utility shed, we have our 2 propane tanks. So this house, the only fuel in this house for LP is the actual tankless water heater. So we just connect both sides, connect it both into the water heater. 2 LP tanks for 2 people. That'll last well over probably 2 months of time off of 2 tanks, again, depending on how long showers are and you know the use of hot water itself. We do have an additional shelf that goes all the way across in there. The idea of that shelf is the customer has, this customer is going to be moving quite frequently. They have a distribution hitch, so there's a lot of parts that come with that weight distribution hitch, so they'll kind of fit up into that space super easily. One other thing we did on this one is that we did the bathroom windows obscure, so you can't see into the bathroom, but you still from the inside get that nice natural light. And then we have our mini split system on the mounted up top there and out of the way. Off the side here, you can see where the vent is for the Truma hot water heater. Truma makes a great tankless hot water heater. One of the biggest benefits of Truma is that it's actually rated for -4 degrees. So you could pretty much, this is an all-weather system. The house is built not only for Florida weather, but it's also built for the cold climates as well. On this side, this is the driver's side. This is typically the side that we call the utility side. We've got our power in. We've got our discharge for our gray and black water tanks, if you can see them down here. We've got our discharges for our gray and black water tanks here. This house does have 40 gallons of each, black water and gray water, and it also has in the back there 40 gallons of fresh water. So they have the ability to be semi off grid with that system. They do have generators that they plan to use to be able to boondock for a day or 2 at a time off grid. We also took the advantage of this space. This is the client's garage. They plan on using this space to put things for changing tires, tools, kind of stuff like that. This is also where we put our Renogy 12-volt system, so we've got that whole system in this space as well. Right here is where our water in is on this house. So when we were on city water, you would come into this with your supply garden hose. And again, one of the things that we do is we always put an outlet next to that inlet. And the reason why we put an outlet there is because, again, if you go to that colder climate, they sell what a heat wrapped supply hose, and that way your incoming water won't freeze with that system set up. Kind of use those same features on all 3 sides of the house, with adding in that kind of pop of that cedar look with the darker kind of charcoal exterior. We'll go inside now. hopefully we can keep our Wi-Fi rolling here. A couple of the features that the customer asked for on this house was they have Nest cameras and they wanted to be able to use those, keep an eye on the cats when they're away, as well as kind of a safety thing. So we did add an additional outlet up top so that they can have that Nest camera added on the outside of the house, and it's easily removable whenever they pack up and go to a new location. We'll kick off our shoes. We're a big fan of these MoRide removable and adjustable stairs. They easily click off, and then they're super light to be able to take and put in the back of the truck, but they're also adjustable here as well for the differences in locations of parking, right? So definitely an awesome product that we're a big fan of. Come on in. So the customer purchased a couple of recliner chairs. These are basically kind of an RV style recliner chair. They got to see them in one of our previous builds. Barb Lindstrom was kind enough to allow them to see her build, and they spotted them there and went and purchased them, and we designed the space to fit the two comfortably. They do have a little bit of a bump out here. Again, this was something that was thought about for the cats to kind of chill and do their thing, but we also put some additional storage in the space as well. So there is some, usable storage in that space. They do have their TV located here. So they have a sound bar they're going to add in as well. Now we're in the kitchen. It's a little bit difficult to kind of do this process in here, but a lot of people noticed in our open house last weekend that we don't have an oven. This customer did not want an oven. They only wanted a cooktop and a convection microwave, right? So this microwave will do a lot of the things that a standard oven will do. So they get the benefit of having additional storage in this location rather than the oven. Another thing that the customer requested was this kind of removable butcher block cutting station. So when she's cooking, she's able to kind of cut here and be able to not have to use up this location of countertop space. So she has an additional location here. It removes up and out, so you still use the drawer, and it can be cleaned off in the sink as well. So just something additional that they wanted, and we do our best to try to give as many options to the customer as we can. Big fan of Furrion products. You'll probably notice that everything in here is Furrion. The benefit of Furrion is that they are a higher end RV and boat manufacturer. They do all kinds of different things, and their appliances work really, really well in our tiny homes. This space here has the Furrion fridge as well as the freezer. So again, one of the things that we used on this house was to think about them being mobile. The benefit of the Furrion system is that it's designed to be mobile. You don't need any type of additional strapping around it because the doors have the built-in kind of clasps that open and lock the door. So it doesn't need to have any additional kind of securing when traveling. So that's just something to think about. This space here is where the cats will go out, and we utilize this space to the best of our kind of imagination, right? So each one of these has drawer storage, and that's kind of the way that it works all the way around. What you'll notice here is that we actually step up and then back down into the bathroom, and what we're stepping up and over was that freshwater tank that you saw from the garage side. Still doing okay on the signal?
Doing great.
Coming up into this space, we've got basically a standing, you can come all the way up, TJ. We've basically got a standing loft for the customer. It was designed for their height, right? So I'm about 6 foot, they are shorter than me, so it was designed for them to stand in this space and feel comfortable. And they've both been up here and it works perfect. They have a couple of steps here to get up into their king size bed. We'll see if TJ can get a good picture of that when I change places with him. But this is a full regular king size bed in this space. It's not an RV queen or RV king. These drawers also are set up for additional storage, making use of all of that. We added this one as well to be able to put shoes and different things like that. And it's still a very kind of comfortable space. This is their closet. You will be able to stand here, you know, and change and do all the things that you need to do. I'll change places with TJ. He can kind of give you a view of the cat loft. Again, this was designed for the customer and their cats. They have 2 Robo litter boxes, self-cleaning litter boxes that are going to go up into that loft. We put outlets up there for them, and they use the loft to be able to get to it to clean, as well as the cats to get there and play around up top. We're trying to keep this in 30 minutes, so we're kind of moving a little bit quicker. We do have our photographer and video guy coming later this afternoon to do a full photo shoot and video of the space as well. So again, something about being a custom builder. We originally didn't design a handrail in this space. We did have one here to prevent anything from falling down into this lower space. But what we noticed is kind of coming up at the rounded kind of stairs that we needed something to kind of hold on to feel secure. So we just tied this in. Daryl, one of our amazing quality craftsmen, welded it all up. We got it powder coated and it looks really good. It still has that kind of modern look and feel to it. So coming down into the bathroom, one of the things that I love about this design is that you have no idea the size of the bathroom. You can't see it from the front. Some designs, and we've designed them, you have the bathroom right next to the kitchen, and there's so many people that are always like, oh, I don't want to do my business next to the where I'm cooking and things like that. So this house has them completely separate on one end of the house, different ends of the house. So I'm going to open these up. TJ, I don't know if they're going to help with any of the signals at all going into that bathroom. You're still doing okay?
We're doing good.
As you come down, we've got this little additional made use of space here. What the customer is going to use this space for is basically hanging some jackets, right? So they're going to be hanging their jackets in that space. Again, it would have been super easy to kind of make this just a wall and add more garage space, but we kind of tried to get creative and give them some options there.
Take a look in here.
So as TJ comes into this space, again, it is a tiny bathroom, tiny home bathroom, but 2 people can kind of fit into this space. We've got our water pump and our tank systems here, so we can monitor how full our tanks are, as well as control our pump when we are off grid. We've got the splendid all-in-one washer and dryer kind of tucked in, again, underneath that loft area, and a bunch of custom cabinetry for them, right? Laundry is right here, bathroom is right here. It makes sense to have a laundry basket right here too, right? So great location for it. Again, just something different that we, tried to do to kind of make use of the space as well as we can. Fully lighted mirror. Again, this was a request from the customer. It has heat on it as well, and it changes colors. It's got like a bright color as well as an amber color, depending on what you kind of would like to have as far as lighting. You will notice we have that vent fan here. That's going to be running, and we talk to the customer about that all the time. Anytime they're taking a shower, they want to have that vent fan on to really pull that humidity out of the bathroom. We've got quartz countertops in this, and a bunch of different storage just for different things within the system here. Got some tools still in here we're wrapping up. If TJ can come around the corner, you'll be able to see the shower. This shower is bigger. During the open house, we had so many people say that this shower is bigger than their home shower, right? So this shower is actually 48 inches by 34 inches deep. And we did, again, use the glass doors. And this is a super modern kind of setup. But the benefit of this is that it has that track system, and it can all be secured nicely back to this D-ring when in travel. We did tied in the quartz on top of the windowsill, as well as the shampoo niche, so everything kind of ties in together. The customer also requested a footstool kind of stoop for shaving. So we added that, again, to kind of keep it super modern, that look, and all the black touches in there. One thing I will note about tile is that we do 99% of the time in our showers, we do use a prefabricated fiberglass base rather than a tile shower floor. That way there is no cracking or anything potentially in the bottom where all of the water accumulates during a shower, so that we will tile up from there. So kind of adding to that comment earlier about tile. We're here at the Incinolet toilet. This is the other option that we typically offer customers, and this toilet is kind of the most expensive option that we have as far as other options to a flush toilet. The benefit of this toilet is that you don't have to have a garden, you don't have to have a dump station. It literally takes the waste, and it doesn't have a diverter either. It has basically a liner that goes into this, and you do your business inside the liner just like it shows here. You open this up and it goes down into basically a burn pit. Close it, and you press the start button right here. So when you push that button, the incinerating process starts. It is vented out the back for all of that kind of process to be kind of pulled out. So there's a couple of negatives about this. First, let me talk about the waste. What happens with the waste is it actually burns it into a sterilized ash that you can then take and put into the garbage, right? I feel like their slogan should be ash to trash, right? Because it's super easy. You basically take the bottom tray out, and you take that ash and you can go right to the trash can. It doesn't need to be in a composting system, and it's completely sterile for that setup. These toilets are actually approved to use in the Coast Guard as well for dumping into the water. So definitely a great option if you're not a green thumb and don't have the ability to have a flush toilet all the time. One of the negatives about this toilet is that it does take a pretty significant electrical need and the time that it runs. So it does need a designated 20 amp 120 volt circuit, as well as it takes the process 75 minutes from start to finish roughly. So one of the biggest questions I've had is, can you use it during that process? You can. You don't have to wait 75 minutes for the next person to use it. You just press the button, but it does start the process over again, right? So if somebody used it 60 minutes ago, you go to use it, now the process of the 75-minute time frame runs again, right? They do have some other color options. They have a stainless steel option as well as the white option. So definitely a great sub to a flush toilet if you are not a green thumb kind of or have access to composting or proper kind of dump stations to take the waste from the Separett style toilet. So I'm going to switch places, let TJ kind of make his way around here. We hope you guys enjoyed the tour and the talk about toilets. We hope to see you guys next Wednesday. Happy New Year from the Movable Roots team, and we look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your day.